Um, usually when you build a business, you kind of think of it like building a physical storefront.
Right, yeah.
You pour, all your capital into the displays, the lighting. You're making sure the sign out front looks absolutely
Oh,
perfect.
you completely obsess over the window dressing?
Yeah.
Because, the goal is to make it incredibly inviting, heavily branded, and just really easy to spot from a mile away.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But imagine waking up one morning, you go to unlock your beautiful, incredibly expensive shop on this busy highway, and you realize the city completely rerouted the highway overnight.
Ooh, yeah.
Your shop is still perfect, the products are great, but there's literally no one driving past it anymore.
It's a nightmare scenario.
It really is. And that terrifying scenario is exactly what we call the front door problem. Basically, you built the perfect business, but the very way customers find you just shifted completely beneath your feet. So, for today's custom deep dive, we're looking at a fascinating article titled The Front Door Problem in Your Business.
Yeah, it's such a crucial read.
Okay, let's unpack this, because our mission today is to understand how these customer pathways are shifting and why even the biggest companies are at huge risk right now.
Well, and this goes way beyond just like a simple marketing hiccup. A lot of business leaders will see a dip in their traffic and automatically assume, oh, we need to tweak our ad spend. Or
Right, we need to fix our SEO.
exactly, let's update our search engine optimization. They treat it like a purely tactical problem. But it's actually an existential shift in consumer behavior.
Right.
It's really about the very first step a customer takes when they want something, and more importantly, who actually controls that step.
Right. So I want to look at what might be like the most prominent digital example of this phenomenon from the source material HubSpot.
Oh, perfect example.
Yeah. If you're listening and you're not familiar with them, they are this massive player in the B2B business-to-business software space.
Mhm.
They make CRM systems, which is customer relationship management software.
It's basically a high-tech digital Rolodex that sales teams use to track their clients.
Yeah, that's the best way to describe it. And for almost 20 years, HubSpot was the undisputed king of the digital front door. It was nearly impossible to search for a marketing or sales question on Google without landing on a HubSpot article.
They essentially achieved a monopoly on search intent. And, when we talk about search intent, we're referring to the underlying goal a person has when they type a query into a search engine.
Like, are they looking to buy something or just learn something?
Exactly. HubSpot recognized early on that before someone buys a massive CRM system, they ask 100 related questions. So if you typed, how do you write a better cold email?
HubSpot had a 2,000-word guide waiting for you.
Right. How do you build a lead generation funnel?
Right.
Or how do you structure a sales pipeline?
Yeah.
They hadn't just written a quick blog post about it. They had engineered it to rank at the absolute top of Google.
And this wasn't just them, running a corporate blog on the side to look busy. There is a massive distinction here between standard content marketing and what HubSpot did.
Yeah, it's night and day.
Standard content marketing is like renting a billboard on the side of the highway to catch people's attention. But what HubSpot built was the actual road itself. It was pure infrastructure. Every single article they published became a permanent structural entrance into their business ecosystem.
And, that infrastructure paid off massively. For
Mhm.
over a decade, millions of professionals walked through those specific doors via Google.
Right.
They'd read the article, find it genuinely helpful, and then see a prompt to download a free template. And to get the template, they just handed over their email address. Boom.
They're in the funnel.
They are now in HubSpot sales funnel. It was just a brilliantly executed machine, largely because Google acted as this reliable, highly predictable delivery mechanism for all that foot traffic.
Right up until the door started moving. Because now, instead of searching Google, people are taking those exact same complex questions and they're just asking AI. They're going to ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, Perplexity. The customer's core problem hasn't changed one bit, right? They still need to know, what's the best CRM for a growing 50-person software company? What changed is the location of the inquiry.
What's fascinating here is that the underlying discovery layer has fundamentally migrated. And the mechanics of how these large language models, or LLMs, work that is the real threat here.
Because it's completely different from a search engine.
Exactly. A traditional search engine is a directory. It literally just points you to other destinations. It gives you 10 blue links, and you have to click one to actually find your answer.
Right.
But an LLM, on the other hand, synthesizes the information from across the web and just generates the final answer directly in its own interface.
So it's the storefront analogy again. You built the best store on the highway, but the highway physically moved. And if I'm, putting myself in the customer's shoes here, if an AI gives me a complete, well-reasoned answer right there in the chat box, outlining the exact steps to build my sales pipeline.
You don't need anything else.
Yeah. Exactly. I literally never have to visit HubSpot's website.
The journey terminates at the AI. You never cross the threshold of HubSpot's digital property. And because you never hit their site, you never see their branding, you aren't tracked by their analytics, you don't get prompted to sign up for their newsletter.
And you definitely don't enter their sales funnel.
Precisely. The architecture HubSpot built the thousands of optimized pages and complex backlink strategies. It's all still structurally sound, but it's sitting on an abandoned discovery layer.
Wow. And, based on the source article, it is not just marketing software getting hit by this. We are seeing collateral damage across so many different sectors.
Oh, absolutely. It's everywhere.
Like, take software developers, for example. Historically, if a programmer got a weird error message, what did they do? They copied the error, opened a web browser, pasted it into Google, and clicked the first link to a site called Stack Overflow, which is this massive forum for coders.
Yeah, everybody used it.
Right. They'd read through the thread, find the fix, and go back to work.
But think about the friction in that old process. It actually required a massive context switch.
Oh, true.
The developer had to physically leave their coding environment, navigate a search engine, evaluate multiple links, read through human debates on a forum, and then figure out how to adapt the solution to their specific code.
Right. But today, they just use AI coding assistants built directly into their software editor. The AI sees the error as it happens, it understands the context of the specific project, and suggests the fix without the developer ever even leaving the screen.
Which is why Stack Overflow's traffic has taken such a massive hit. Because the developer's front door is no longer the web browser, it's the code editor itself.
That is wild.
And we see the exact same pattern in the travel industry. Like, why spend 3 hours bouncing between Booking.com, TripAdvisor, and Google Maps to piece together a 2-week vacation itinerary in Rome?
Oh, I've definitely done that. It's exhausting.
Right. Now you can just ask an AI to design an itinerary optimized for a family with a toddler, including hotel recommendations near specific landmarks.
It just does it all at once.
Yeah. Or look at healthcare, where complex symptom queries are being synthesized by AI before a user ever even thinks to land on WebMD.
So the end product.
Yeah, the hotel room, the medical context, the code fix, it's all still required by the user. The demand hasn't evaporated at all, but the gateway to access that demand has been entirely intercepted.
Okay, this feels like a very digital Silicon Valley kind of problem so far. But if you step away from the keyboard and look at the physical world, the exact same mechanics are upending everyday brick-and-mortar businesses.
Oh, 100%.
Let's talk about how we buy cars.
The traditional auto dealership is actually a perfect case study in the shifting front door.
Right, because for generations, the physical showroom was the undisputed front door to buying a car. You'd wake up on a Saturday morning, visit 3 or 4 different lots, look at the window stickers, kind of kick the tires.
And the salesperson's job literally started with, "Hello there, let me tell you about this model."
Yes, all of the discovery, the education, and the comparison happened inside the physical building.
Because the fundamental dynamic there was information asymmetry. The dealership held all the cards. They knew the invoice pricing, they knew the exact specifications, and they completely controlled the inventory.
Right, you couldn't just Google it back then.
Exactly. Because the customer couldn't easily access that information elsewhere, they were forced to use the showroom as their primary research hub.
But look at the modern car buyer today. They arrive at the dealership having already done a staggering amount of prep work. I mean, they've watched a dozen comprehensive YouTube reviews. They've used online tools to compare the exact headroom and cargo space across 3 different brands.
They know more than the salespeople sometimes.
Seriously. They've scoured Reddit forums for long-term reliability issues, and they already know the trade-in value of their current car down to the absolute dollar.
The physical dealership hasn't disappeared, right? The customer still goes there to sign the paperwork and physically pick up the keys. But its position in the journey has completely inverted. It has quietly shifted from being the very first stop on the customer journey to the absolute last stop.
Yeah.
The front door moved to the internet long before the customer ever walked through those sliding glass showroom doors.
Hmm.
The dealership went from being a powerful discovery engine to just a mere fulfillment center for a decision that was made 3 weeks ago on a laptop.
Which brings us to another physical example from the article, McDonald's. Years ago, you get hungry, you jump in the car, and you drive to the Golden Arches. The restaurant building was the destination.
Yeah.
Today, you sit on your couch and you open up a food delivery app. Swiggy, Zomato, Uber Eats, DoorDash. The burger is exactly the same. The restaurant cooking it is exactly the same. But the primary destination, the new front door, is the app on your phone.
Right.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though, because I want to push back on this a bit.
Okay, let's hear it.
If I'm McDonald's and I plug into Uber Eats, making it totally frictionless for someone to buy a Big Mac without even leaving their couch, I'm probably moving more volume than ever.
Right.
Like, revenue is up. So why should they care that the door moved if the cash register is ringing louder than before?
You'd think so, right? That seems logical, but that's a dangerous illusion. And it's actually the exact reason so many companies miss this threat until it's far too late.
Why?
Because it is not about today's sales volume. It's about who fundamentally owns the customer relationship and the margins over the long term. The hidden danger is that the front door moved long before the customer took a bite of that burger.
But if they're still eating my food, what does it matter?
Because when the door moves to a delivery app, someone else owns the room behind it. Think about it. When a customer opens a delivery app, they aren't just looking at McDonald's. They are standing in a virtual food court, comparing a dozen different restaurants side by side on one single screen.
Ah, okay, I see it. You open the app craving fries, but suddenly the algorithm shows you that a local taco place is offering 20% off and free delivery right at the top of your screen.
Exactly. And who decides that you see that taco place first? It's not McDonald's.
No.
The delivery platform's algorithm dictates the rankings. The platform sets the parameters for promotions, the platform handles the payment and collects the credit card fee, and most importantly, the platform hoards the data.
Right, they know everything.
They know what time you order, your price sensitivity, your repeat order habits. The psychological moment the decision gets made belongs entirely to the tech platform, not to the kitchen cooking the food.
So the restaurant is basically reduced to a white label kitchen for the app's customer base. The app holds all the leverage.
And they use that leverage to extract value. Once the app controls the front door, they start charging the restaurants not just for the delivery service, but for visibility.
Oh.
Yeah, if a restaurant wants to show up at the top of the search results for burgers, they have to actually pay for an ad placement within the app. It becomes an algorithmic toll booth, acting as a permanent tax on the restaurant's already thin margins.
That is brutal.
Yeah.
And if we connect the physical back to the digital here, these delivery apps are doing to the physical restaurant counter exactly what AI is currently doing to Google's old position.
Yeah.
They are intercepting the customer's intent at the very beginning of the journey.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it exposes the absolute vulnerability of reliance. It really comes down to renting your front door versus owning it.
Renting versus owning.
Exactly. Every business on earth has a front door. Maybe your front door is your ranking on Google search. Maybe it's your performance on Facebook ads, or your placement in Amazon's marketplace, or Apple's App Store, or even a network of physical third-party distributors.
Right.
But very, very few businesses actually own their front door.
And when you rent your front door, your landlord can change the locks whenever they want.
Without ever asking your permission. They can renovate it, they can rewrite the algorithm, increase the rent, or replace the entire system overnight.
Just flip a switch.
Yeah. And while they're at it, they get to decide what customers see on the way in. They decide which competitor ranks first, or which specific answer an AI assistant gives before your business even gets a chance to make its pitch.
Right.
That is what HubSpot is living through right now. Their content is still world-class. The problem is that the road leading to that content is being rerouted by a landlord, in this case OpenAI or Google's own AI overviews.
Okay, so we've established the mechanics of the threat. The discovery layer is constantly shifting, tech platforms are intercepting the customer earlier in the journey, and renting your front door is a massive, massive strategic liability.
Definitely.
But we need to clarify what this actually means practically, because the immediate reaction to this kind of shift is usually panic, right? People start declaring that SEO is dead or websites are dead.
Which is completely the wrong takeaway. SEO isn't dead, just like physical restaurants aren't dead, and car dealerships certainly aren't dead.
Right.
The lesson here is much larger than any single marketing channel or technology. It's about recognizing a historical cycle that repeats itself constantly in business. Leaders will spend years, sometimes entire careers, optimizing for today's primary gateway.
They build everything around it.
Exactly. They build their whole corporate infrastructure around it.
But then Google came along and fundamentally changed the mechanism of discovery. Instead of a curated portal of links, Google offered an algorithm that crawled the entire web and let you search for anything instantly.
So Yahoo lost the front door to Google.
Exactly. And now, 20 years later, Google is losing a significant portion of that exact same front door to generative AI.
Right.
And frankly, a decade from now, AI will probably lose the front door to something else that hasn't even been invented or named yet.
It is the relentless march of technological friction reduction. The ultimate strategic takeaway from all this is, never mistake a customer acquisition channel for a permanent strategic advantage.
That's a great point.
Your product can stay excellent. Your customer service can be unparalleled. Your customers can be incredibly loyal today. But if the front door shifts and you stubbornly refuse to move with it, people will stop finding you long before they stop needing you.
So I want you, listening right now, to actually pause and audit your own situation. Think about your own business or your team's current project, or even how you market your personal brand. What percentage of your success relies on a single front door that you do not control?
That's the real test.
Where is your traffic or your attention primarily coming from? Because if that specific platform changed its algorithm tomorrow, or if an AI suddenly started answering the specific questions your product solves, how exposed are you?
This raises an important question, because it's the ultimate test of adaptability. The companies that survive these massive generational shifts aren't necessarily the ones who built the biggest, most beautiful front door on the old platform.
All right.
In fact, sometimes those are the companies that fail the hardest because they have too much sunk cost to pivot. The survivors are the ones who notice early when their customers quietly start using a different entrance. They pay intense attention to the faint signals of behavioral change.
They see the highway being rerouted before the new asphalt even gets poured, and they start building a new off-ramp immediately.
Exactly. They don't fight the shift. They migrate their infrastructure to meet the customer exactly where they are standing today.
This has been such a fascinating breakdown. We've traced the mechanics of HubSpot's 20-year dominance in search engine optimization, dissected the changing power dynamics on the floor of a car dealership, and looked at how a delivery app acts as an algorithmic toll booth for a fast food giant.
It's all connected.
The through line connecting all of these is undeniable. The discovery layer is never static. It is always moving. And for you, as someone who wants to stay ahead of the curve, being well-informed means you have to constantly interrogate where the entrance is shifting today, not where it was yesterday.
And as we wrap this up, consider where this is heading next.
Yeah.
We've talked about how public platforms like a search engine or a food delivery app took over the front door and how conversational AI is currently replacing them.
Right.
But look at the trajectory of AI assistants. They're becoming incredibly individualized, learning our specific daily habits, our financial constraints, our personal preferences. So what happens when the next front door isn't a public search algorithm that anyone can optimize for? What happens when it is a hyper-personalized, private AI agent acting as an unbreachable bouncer for every single consumer?
Oh, wow.
If my personal AI is the one evaluating software or booking my vacations, how exactly do you market your business to a machine that is fiercely protecting its owner's attention?
Now, that is a truly wild thought to keep you up at night. How do you convince the bouncer to let you into the club when the bouncer doesn't watch ads, doesn't care about your branding, and is literally an artificial intelligence?
Good luck with that.
A whole new set of rules to figure out. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the front door problem. Keep your eyes on the highway, and we'll catch you next time.